Memories aren't files in a cabinet. They're wild things. They move like comets through the dark, flashing in and out of your mind, vanishing for years and then suddenly blazing back across your sky.
I mean, it just completely disrupts the default way we're taught to, understand our own minds, doesn't it?
It really does, because, like, from the time we are in elementary school, we are taught our brains are basically filing cabinets.
Right. Dry, boring, transactional.
Yeah, exactly. You open a folder, you retrieve the data. Or, I guess in the modern era, it's a hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
But what if, and think about how wild this is, what if the reason you can't sleep at 3 in the morning isn't because of generalized anxiety, but because a deeply embarrassing memory from like 10 years ago just completed its orbital cycle and crashed back into your atmosphere?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the filing cabinet metaphor, because that's actually a relic of the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we always map the human brain onto whatever the most advanced technology of our era happens to be.
That makes total sense.
Right. So when we had complex gears and clockwork, we thought the brain was a clock. When we developed filing systems for massive bureaucracies, the brain became a cabinet.
And then computers came along.
Exactly. And the brain became a hard drive. But all of those metaphors imply a user.
Right, like someone sitting at a keyboard.
Yes. They imply that we are sitting at a terminal with total control, actively choosing what memory to pull up and when. And honestly, anyone who has lived a human life knows that is absolutely not how memory functions.
Not at all.
Memory is volatile. It acts on its own agency.
Which perfectly sets up the core mission of our deep dive today. We are exploring the theories laid out in Harmon Euman's book, Time as a Heartbeat, Not a River.
Such a fantastic book.
It really is. And specifically, we are going to unpack Chapter 3, Part 1, which is titled The Orbit of Memory. Euman basically strips away all that clinical, transactional language of cognitive science and replaces it with this incredibly grand cosmic architecture.
And in doing so, he provides this framework that bridges the gap between how we are told memory works and how memory actually, feels in the body.
Yes, the physical feeling of it.
We are moving away from the idea of memory as passive storage, and we're starting to treat it as a living gravitational ecosystem.
Okay, so let's get right into the central friction of this chapter. Because Gilman starts by directly attacking a concept that is so ingrained in us we don't even question it.
The illusion of the straight line.
Exactly, the illusion of the straight line. We navigate the world believing time is a ruler. The past is the inches behind you, the future is the inches ahead, and the present is just this tiny moving dot.
Chronological time. I mean, it is a necessary fiction.
Unnecessary fiction.
Yeah, because if we didn't collectively agree on the straight line model, society would just collapse.
Yeah.
We needed to schedule train departures, to pay our taxes on time, to organize our workdays.
Sure. The straight line works for logistics, but Gilman argues that inside your own head, time isn't a ruler at all.
No, not even a little bit.
It bends, it doubles back, and reading this, I kept trying to find a mechanical way to visualize it. Because if time inside our consciousness isn't a straight line, I think it's more like a vinyl record.
They're like that.
Okay, let's unpack this. You put the needle down, and you think you're just moving forward through the song.
Right. The lyrics progress, the seconds tick by.
Yeah, but structurally, the needle is actually spinning around the exact same center over and over again. You aren't walking a straight path. You are in an orbit.
That vinyl analogy works perfectly, especially when we start talking about the disruptions in that orbit.
Like when the record skips.
Exactly. Think about how a vinyl record gets scratched. If you endure a massive emotional event, a trauma, a profound heartbreak, or honestly even a moment of staggering joy, that event creates a literal scratch on the vinyl of your psyche.
Wow.
So when the needle of your present consciousness hits that scratch, it physically cannot move forward smoothly. The momentum is disrupted.
It gets knocked out of the groove.
Yes, the needle is forced to skip backward. That skip is the involuntary flashback. You haven't chosen to remember it. The architecture of the groove forced you back into it.
Okay, that makes so much sense out of what Gilman calls the hoarder universe.
The hoarder universe, right.
If we are caught in these spinning grooves, nothing is ever truly left behind. The universe, and by extension, the universe inside your skull doesn't delete anything.
It just holds on to it.
Every awkward joke you made at a party 5 years ago, every late-night conversation in a college dorm, it is all still there. It's stored like invisible code.
And neurologically speaking, this actually aligns with how we understand latent memory versus active recall.
How so?
Well, our brains engage in synaptic pruning to keep us functional. Like, We forget what we had for breakfast last Tuesday because it just isn't relevant to our survival.
Right, we don't need that data.
But emotionally charged events bypass that pruning completely. The brain doesn't delete them, it just shifts them to the periphery.
Oh.
So Guman's hoarder universe is really a poetic way of describing a strict biological reality. We want to believe that when an uncomfortable moment is over, we have, walked past it on the timeline and left it behind.
But we haven't.
No, Guman is saying you didn't leave it behind at all. It merely widened its orbit. It is circling you in the dark. You are essentially a whole galaxy of reruns and half-finished scenes spinning inside one physical body.
Which completely explains why it feels so violent when a memory hits you out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
We treat those 3.0 AM cringe fests as a glitch in the matrix, like our brain is just torturing us for absolutely no reason. But under this framework, it isn't a glitch at all.
Not at all.
The memory was just completing a very wide orbit, and it happened to swing back into your atmosphere.
It shifts the blame, in a way. You aren't malfunctioning. You are just standing at the center of your own solar system, and the planets are continuing their natural rotation.
Wait, okay. If my brain is storing every significant moment as a planet in this orbit, that implies there is gravity. Something has to be anchoring them, right? Otherwise, based on your synaptic pruning point earlier, wouldn't these memories just float away into the void?
This is exactly where Guman introduces the concept of the private suns.
The private sun.
Every orbit must have a center of gravity. In the landscape of your mind, that gravitational pull is generated by core emotional anchors.
Okay.
These are the moments that fundamentally altered your understanding of yourself or the world. Human gives examples like the first time you felt truly, deeply seen by another human being, or the very first time you felt profoundly abandoned.
He also mentions those split-second decisions, right? The ones you make in a rush that end up echoing for decades.
Right, those count too. And the mechanics of this are rooted in how our brains process emotion. When an event is accompanied by an intense emotional spike, so fear, elation, shame, whatever, the amygdala essentially stamps that memory with a high priority tag.
Like marking it as urgent.
Exactly. Before sending it to the hippocampus to be stored, it marks it urgent. It burns hot. That memory becomes a private sun. And the stronger the emotion of the original event, the deeper the neural groove it carves, and the more gravitational pull it exerts on your ongoing consciousness.
Let's try to ground this in a real visceral scenario for you listening right now. Picture this. You are walking down a busy city street in the middle of July.
Okay.
You are completely locked into your logical present-day brain. You're mentally drafting an email, you're worrying about a deadline, you're figuring out what to make for dinner, and then the wind shifts.
Yeah.
A sudden thunderstorm breaks, and you catch that hyper-specific scent of rain hitting hot asphalt.
Ah, petrichor.
Oh.
It is one of the most universally recognized olfactory triggers.
Instantly, before you even have a chance to consciously process what you're smelling, you are entirely teleported.
You're gone.
You aren't a 30-something professional on a city street anymore. You are 12 years old, standing in your childhood driveway, feeling the humidity on your skin, hearing the screen door slam. The transportation is physical.
It hits your whole body.
And then you blink, the street comes back into focus, and you just sort of shake your head and keep walking. We always brush it off as a weird biological quirk.
We brush it off because we don't understand the mechanisms at play.
Right.
If we look at the biology of that moment, olfactory input smells are really unique. They bypass the thalamus, which is essentially the brain's sensory relay station.
They skip the middleman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, smells route directly to the olfactory bulb, which has a direct neural projection to the amygdala and the hippocampus.
Oh.
Smell is hardwired directly into the emotional and memory centers of the brain. So when you smell that rain, you aren't just remembering being 12. Neurologically, your brain is firing in the exact same pattern it did when you actually were 12.
That is fascinating. So the smell of the rain is the gravity.
Yes.
It yanked the orbit of that 12-year-old memory violently into the present moment.
It creates an intersection of orbits. And when we understand that, we can start to decode our hardest behavioral patterns. Well, we often wonder why a deep-seated fear from a toxic past relationship so effortlessly activates when we are in a brand new situation with a totally different healthy person.
Oh, yeah. Like, why am I freaking out right now?
Right. It is because the new situation subtly brushed against the gravitational pull of one of those private suns. The neural groove was already there. You didn't invent a new fear on the spot. You just fell into an old orbit because the environmental trigger activated that specific gravity.
It's terrifying to think we are that susceptible to our own history, but it's also weirdly comforting
It is.
because it means you aren't broken for overreacting to something small. You are just operating under the laws of your own internal
It
physics.
removes the shame from our reactions, I think.
Right.
Once you realize your mind is navigating a gravitational field of past traumas and joys,
Yeah.
you can start to anticipate the pull rather than just being a victim to it.
But hold on. If an external trigger, like the smell of rain or maybe a certain tone of voice, creates this intersection of memory and present reality, what causes an unprompted intersection? What happens when the physical sensation of the past crashing into the present occurs without any sensory trigger at all? Because Human addresses this, and let me tell you, it completely shattered my understanding of déjà vu.
Déjà vu is the perfect test case for this theory.
It really is.
The traditional clinical view of déjà vu is that it is just a momentary misfiring of synapses, a delay in neurological processing where your brain accidentally files a present experience into long-term memory a fraction of a second before it reaches your conscious awareness.
Essentially, a glitch in the hardware.
Right, a meaningless biological hiccup. But Human rejects that entirely.
He does not buy the glitch theory.
No. He frames déjà vu as cosmic architecture. He describes it as a literal crossing of paths. Two moments, separated by years or even decades, aligning so perfectly that for a single heartbeat, the past and the present stand on the exact same coordinates.
For a heartbeat, past and present stand on the exact same coordinates. That line gave me chills.
It's beautiful.
Because when you actually experience déjà vu, it doesn't feel like a biological hiccup. It feels incredibly heavy.
It really does.
You might just be standing in the grocery store aisle, looking at a box of cereal, and suddenly the air gets thick, your chest gets tight. You think, I have been here before, not in that exact physical location, but inside that exact emotional geometry.
To understand why this happens, Gilman urges us to look at how the broader universe operates. The universe relies entirely on repeating patterns, fractals.
Right.
We see the shape of a spiral galaxy mirrored perfectly in the shape of a hurricane, which is mirrored perfectly in the spiral of a nautilus shell.
It's all the same design.
Exactly. We see the branching patterns of lightning reflected in the root systems of ancient trees and in the neural networks of our own brains. The universe is highly economical. It uses the same structural blueprints over and over.
Okay, I see where this is going. If the universe relentlessly repeats physical patterns, why wouldn't it repeat temporal or experiential patterns?
Precisely the point. We are not exempt from the mechanics of the universe. We are a product of them.
Right.
This is why we encounter the exact same type of conflict in totally different jobs. It is why we seem to attract the exact same personality type in romantic partners, just wearing different faces and different names. The pattern is repeating.
So it's not a coincidence.
No. The universe or the architecture of your subconscious is bringing the same structural blueprint back around.
But I have to push back on this a little bit. It is one thing for a nautilus shell to share a mathematical spiral with a galaxy. That is just physics.
Sure.
It is entirely different for me to feel like I am trapped in a cycle of having the exact same argument with my partner that I had with my ex 5 years ago.
I hear you.
If déjà vu, or the cyclical repeating of events, is not a glitch, but a feature of the architecture,
Right.
what is the purpose of it? Why does the universe line the planets up just to make us feel stuck?
Well, it doesn't line them up to keep you stuck. It lines them up to see if you have evolved.
Yeah.
Kuhlman suggests that the universe brings back the familiar toxic dynamic, or the exact same argument, as a deliberate test. This actually leans heavily into behavioral psychology's concept of repetition compulsion.
Which is what, exactly?
It's the unconscious drive to repeat a traumatic event or a painful circumstance. Freud believed we do this in a blind attempt to finally master the trauma.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Kuhlman takes a more cosmic view.
Yeah.
The universe is sliding the exact same scenario across your desk and asking, are you going to react the identical way you did 5 years ago? Or are you going to write a different ending?
So déjà vu, or that heavy feeling of familiarity, is basically the universe clearing its throat.
Yeah.
It is saying, pay attention, you are standing at a crossroads you have stood at before.
Yes. It demands that we become active participants rather than passive observers of our lives.
Mm.
If you view déjà vu as a glitch, you ignore it.
Right, you just shake it off.
But if you view it as an intersection of your orbit, you look around and ask, what am I supposed to be doing differently right now? We are not trapped in a flat circle. We are moving up a spiral.
Up a spiral. I love that.
Every time we return to the same coordinates, we are slightly higher up, slightly more evolved.
which perfectly sets up what Kuhlman calls the extra cargo. Because when these planets align and that past memory crashes into your present reality, it doesn't return exactly as it was.
No, the memory remains the same, but the vessel receiving it has changed. You have changed.
Right. The loop isn't designed to trap you, it is designed to test your neuroplasticity. When an old memory swings back into your orbit, you are bringing your new knowledge to it. You are bringing your new scars, your new boundaries, your accumulated softness.
The central question of Kuhlman's entire orbital system really boils down to this. Given who you are now, what will you do with who you were then?
Okay, let's look at the ultimate high-stakes example of this. The scenario where the past and the present collide right at the threshold of a decision. I want to talk about the risky text.
Ah, yes. The risky text. The universal modern dilemma.
We've all been there.
Break down the anatomy of this moment.
Okay, it is 1:30 in the morning. Your bedroom is pitch black except for the harsh blue glow of your phone screen. You have just typed out a highly emotional, deeply vulnerable, and incredibly risky text message to an ex-partner.
Or maybe it's to an old friend who deeply betrayed you.
Exactly. Your thumb is hovering over the send button. Your heart is pounding. You are chasing that immediate hit of dopamine, the relief of just putting the words out there.
Attention is huge.
And right in that split second, just as your thumb is dropping toward the glass, a memory hits you.
A visceral, highly specific memory.
Exactly. It's not a vague feeling. It's a hyper-specific memory from 3 years ago. You suddenly remember the exact look of your own exhausted eyes in the bathroom mirror the last time you let this specific person back into your life right before they broke your heart again.
Ouch.
The memory flashes in your brain, totally unprompted, with physical force. I've totally felt that.
Oh, we all have. In a standard psychological framework, how do we usually interpret that sudden flash?
Well, we think of it as an annoyance. We think, ugh, my brain is flooding with anxiety, or I'm just overthinking it. We try to actively push the memory away so we can just hit send and release the tension. I have totally been in that exact spot, trying to silence my own brain so I can make a bad decision in peace.
Yes.
Oh.
We view the memory as an obstacle to our immediate gratification. But if we apply Kuhlman's framework, that flash of memory is not a random firing of anxious synapses.
It's the pop quiz.
It is the pop quiz.
Mm.
The memory of your own brokenness from 3 years ago has orbited back around and intentionally collided with your present moment of temptation. It has brought the extra cargo of your past pain to the threshold of your current choice.
It's the architecture asking, given the damage you suffered then, what are you going to do with this send button right now?
And this reveals the hidden power dynamic in Kuhlman's theory. Earlier, we established that the private suns, the core emotional memories, are the gravity that pulls us into patterns. But the secret shift is that we are also the gravity.
Wait, we are the gravity.
Yes, we are not just at the mercy of the orbit, we are the mass at the center of it.
Unpack that. Explain how we act as gravity in the moment of hovering over the send button.
Well, neuroplasticity teaches us that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our behaviors.
Okay.
In the context of the orbit, every new choice we make carves a new groove in space. In that dark room, if you allow the dopamine craving to win and you hit send, you reinforce the old groove. You deepen the trench of the old orbit.
You're making it harder to escape next time.
Exactly. But if you pause, if you look at that painful memory from 3 years ago and you choose to put the phone down, you're actively shifting your gravitational field.
By saying no to the impulse, I am physically carving a new pathway.
You are tilting the invisible map of your future memories. By putting the phone down, you are right now, in the present, generating a brand new memory of strength and boundary setting.
Wow.
You are building the reruns that your future self will watch.
That is profound. It means I am not just a victim of the comets swinging past me. I am the architect directing their flight paths.
Precisely.
If I build a memory of self-respect today, that memory enters the orbit. And 3 years from now, when I am tempted again, that memory of strength is the one that will swing around to help me.
You construct your own gravitational support system through your present actions.
Okay, but this brings us to a massive friction point in the text. The part that genuinely made my brain short-circuit.
I think I know where you're going with this.
If these perfectly timed memories, like the bathroom mirror memory stopping you from sending the text, are deliberate tests, and if they arrive with such impossibly perfect timing, right at the literal millisecond before a decision, that implies a curator.
It demands a mechanism of curation, yes.
Right. If there is an orbit, And there are perfectly timed intersections. Logic dictates there must be a center controlling the traffic. Human refers to this presence as the silent architect, a watcher in the control room of your memories.
And as a reader, you immediately assume he is taking a theological turn, right?
100%. You assume the silent architect is God or the universe or fate or some sort of divine consciousness pulling the strings to keep you on the right path.
But then he drops the twist.
And it is a staggering pivot. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The mastermind isn't a deity.
No. Human says the architect organizing these perfectly timed memories isn't God and it isn't the universe. It is you,
Yes.
a future version of yourself.
This is where Human pushes past cognitive psychology and steps into speculative philosophy, really bordering on the metaphysical.
And I have to push back hard on this. I mean, I had to put the book down and stare at the ceiling.
It's a lot to take in.
Are we talking about actual time travel? Because if my future self, sitting in the year 2040, is literally sending a memory backwards through time into my brain in 2026 to stop me from sending a text message, I mean, that breaks the laws of physics. It turns a beautiful psychological metaphor into science fiction.
There's a natural skeptical reaction.
Déjà.
It really is. But let's unpack what he actually means, because he isn't suggesting literal physical time travel where a future you is sitting at a console pressing buttons.
Okay, good, because that was a bridge too far for me.
He is proposing a radical reframing of human intuition.
Okay, walk me through the warning label theory, because that was the only way I could start to wrap my head around it.
Sure. So we currently understand intuition as a form of rapid subconscious pattern recognition. Your brain processes a million micro cues in your environment that your conscious mind misses, and it delivers a feeling, a gut instinct.
Right.
Human is taking that concept and stretching it across the dimension of time. His theory is that the subconscious mind is so advanced at predictive modeling that it effectively becomes a future version of you.
Oh, I see.
Your subconscious already knows the exact statistical probability of what will happen if you send that text. It has run the simulation.
So the future self isn't a literal person 10 years from now. It is the ultimate evolved predictive capacity of my own mind in the present moment, projecting forward, seeing the disaster, and reaching back.
That's the psychological way to look at it. Or, if you want to entertain the more metaphysical interpretation that Guman hints at, which, by the way, physicists who study the nonlinear nature of time might actually entertain time, doesn't flow in one direction.
The block universe theory.
Exactly. In a black universe model, the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. If all moments exist at once, then the version of you who survives the fallout of a bad decision exists concurrently with the version of you who is about to make it.
That is heavy. So the future self has lived the consequence.
Yes.
They know exactly which pain you must revisit right in this exact second to avoid building your future on hidden cracks.
They lived the fallout. And because emotional gravity operates outside of linear time, they can tug at the strings of your shared orbit.
Wow.
They pull that specific painful memory in the bathroom mirror right into your conscious mind, just as your thumb is hovering over send.
Oh.
It is a warning label from the future. I survived this once. Don't make me survive it again.
It perfectly explains why certain encounters in our lives carry this bizarre heavy weight. You meet someone new or you step into a new opportunity and it doesn't feel like an accident.
It feels like an appointment.
Yes. It feels curated, like someone shuffled the deck of your life and dealt you this exact hand on purpose. Human saying someone did shuffle the deck. And that someone is the version of you who already made it through the fire.
It redefines intuition from a passive gut feeling to an active communication across time. Those moments of sudden hesitation or sudden inexplicable courage are breadcrumbs.
There is this one image in the text that is so deeply haunting. Human talks about the experience of looking in the mirror. You're washing your face, you look up, and for a split second, you catch your own reflection, and the eyes looking back at you don't quite feel like yours. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, I have. It's a fleeting moment of dissociation, or maybe hyperassociation.
There is a flash of recognition, but it feels like the person in the glass knows something you don't know yet.
Right.
Human describes it as seeing a flash of mercy. A softness from a future where you made it through whatever crisis you are currently panicking about. The idea that your future self is leaning backward through the gravity of time, looking at you in the mirror, whispering, "Don't forget this part, it matters now."
It is a profound duality. It is incredibly comforting because it suggests you are never actually navigating the dark alone. Your most evolved, most resilient self is acting as your guide.
but simultaneously it is deeply unsettling.
Unsettling because of the stakes.
Exactly. Think about the energy required in this model. If your future self is expending the cosmic emotional energy to reach back and send a painful memory to your conscious mind to stop you from making a choice, you would better listen to the memory.
Absolutely. If the warning label is that loud, the cliff ahead must be incredibly steep.
It demands a total shift in how we treat our own internal experiences. We can't brush off déjà vu anymore. We can't just power through a sudden wave of anxiety or a flashing memory because it's inconvenient to our present desires.
It requires an intense level of self-awareness and reverence. We had to treat our own thoughts not as random noise, but
Mhm.
as a deliberate architectural language. We are both the comet and the gravity.
I love that.
We are the architects of the orbit, and we are the ones experiencing the weather it creates.
And if the orbit is tightening and the reruns in our head are getting louder, it's not because we are breaking down, it's because the system is urgently trying to elevate us up the spiral.
The mission of reading a text like Humans isn't just to entertain a fascinating philosophical thought experiment. It is to apply this framework to the very next threshold you stand at. The next time the memory flashes, you don't suppress it, you interrogate it.
And that feels like the exact right place to bring this home. Because understanding this theory intellectually is one thing, but living it is another.
Very true.
So, what does this all mean for you listening right now, tomorrow, or next week? You are going to be walking down the street or sitting at your desk or staring at your phone in the dark, and you are going to get that sudden, heavy wave of déjà vu, or a random, incredibly vivid memory is going to hit you right before you make a major decision.
It's going to happen.
When that happens, take a pause. Do not push it away. Do not brush it off as a distraction. Listen to the cargo it brought with it. Look at the groove it is asking you to carve. It might just be future you standing somewhere down the timeline, reaching back through the dark to give you a nudge.
Listen to the nudge.
As Harman Guman asks at the very end of this chapter, in a question that I haven't been able to stop thinking about, if you are the one sending these memories back, what future are you trying to save yourself from?